I think it's all about having some form of agency. If I can grow 50%, 60% of my own food, it just changes the discussion, right? It just, and now with everything going on, being able to be food secure, I think it's very important.
Yeah.
But can we do it in wherever we're at? Because everyone has an idea of, okay, I need to have 3 acres and all that stuff. No, just start where we're at. So that's really what we're trying to demonstrate, and how much can we really do with whatever whatever space you have. I always have vegetable. You see that we have our cassava, we're harvesting some of our cassava, our granadillas, there's always food. So this is our garden. You see we've fenced it. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a fence before, but we have dogs.
Yes.
So there's a challenge.
I see here, so you've got raised beds predominantly. Okay, why have you decided to do raised beds, I should ask?
Well, I guess this is also trying to learn the terrain, right? Mm-hmm. Because it floods, and I'm growing asparagus here. I didn't want to plant my asparagus, which is a perennial that lasts over 25 years, in a place where it could get root rot. Yeah. Until I have amended the soil enough so that it's not flooding or. Mm-hmm. So, but then what we did is we use blocks. Yeah. So it's not permanent. Yeah. Because I can move them if I needed to, but we also used hugelkultur. So we filled it with a lot of logs and manure, wood. Yeah. That's why the fertility in the raised bed is, it's bananas, because they're filled in. But if I were to do it differently, in those we filled logs, but in here we have wood chips, because the logs break down and then it creates voids as they break down. Because
so you're kind of aerating at the same time.
But then you have to kind of be filling the raised bed with more soil until it kind of evens out, otherwise as it breaks down. But that's why we put the raised beds, because even when it floods, they're not swimming in water, the root system. And then it's also an idea that if you have a small space or you're renting, you can make a raised bed. It's not that complicated, right? And then you can amend the fertility. You don't have to burn everything. Mm-hmm. The wood can go back in because it's going to break down and be part of the soil again. Yeah. We share that with the termites because they're teeming inside there. But yeah, that's why we put them up, so that we're able to grow our...
Get them out of the kind of flooding area, as you say. You don't want those roots to rot. Have you found that there are certain things that do much better for you than others?
Yes, and this is the thing that we're learning in the food forestry. Just because I want it to grow, it's not necessarily, it doesn't mean it's going to grow based on the conditions, right? Mm-hmm. Because like my cashew died. Because it doesn't like being...
Yeah, it likes drier, very free-drained soils.
Very free-drained soils. Certain things, like the asparagus, actually we've actually started to grow it in the food forest too, because it was unbothered with the whole dry spell, the drought. Really? Unbothered. I just cut them down like a couple months. Yeah. They're back, like nothing happened. Yeah. So it's also figuring out that, the asparagus loves it, grow more of it. Yes. Right? Because we don't know. And then the other thing too, because we have huge biodigesters, so the excavated soil, which is part of this one, you can see there's very little fertility in the soil, because this was it's basically dirt. Yes. So we're improving the dirt as we go along. Yeah. This is no water is going through that. Yeah. So to start with, this is part of the soil that was dug up. So to get this from this to growing, it takes a while. Yeah, roots are going to have a very hard time penetrating into this effectively. That's why you notice that it's things like Tithonia. The weeds are the pioneers going there. So weeds are not always a bad thing, but they're telling us what's going on. But it requires a lot of. That's why we did like some hugel. Yeah. We had to put like the hugelkultur. Your raised beds. So that we actually put in the fertility to kind of break it down. Were you mixing some of your existing soil with stuff that you brought in then, or just compost? We put some of it, mixed it with our soil and some that we brought in. Okay. Yeah, but the levels have gone down. Yep. So we have to put, Was it raised all the way to the top? Oh wow! Top, so it's actually settled quite a bit. It's settled quite a bit because the wood logs have like broken down. Yeah. So we have to top it up and top it up. Yeah. And we keep the This is the pumpkin leaves, calimbula, right?
Sweet potato, sorry.
Sweet potato. Oh yeah. There you go. Sorry, sweet potato. Because we had a lot of it, but we've just changed it because we've added some. You can see the little asparagus growing in there. It's the best ground cover. Yeah. Right? Because once it's going and it's covered.
A living ground cover.
It's a living ground cover. Yeah, that's what we mean by a living ground cover. Because, you know, and then it's dual purpose. Not only is it protecting your soil because you don't want to have the soil. In fact, this is not good. We have too much soil exposed here. Yeah. But it is providing food, right? It's covering the soil, it's providing food, and it's pretty much, as long as you're watering it, it's ongoing, it's perennial, basically.
It's perennial, exactly.
Yeah, so, and because of the extreme temperatures that we have, mulching with dry matter is a challenge because it just is eviscerated in a very short time. So living ground cover is usually the way to go, especially when you're beginning your synthropic garden. But then also the other thing you have to keep in mind is we're a burn culture. Mulching with dry mulch is actually a danger if you have neighbors close by because they're going to burn it. Yeah. And once it gets into your garden, you're in trouble. Yeah.
So with the sweet potato acting as your ground cover, I see you've got your asparagus on top. You've got nasturtiums.
Yes.
Is there a specific kind of plan that you start beds with, or?
Well, initially I put sunflower. Initially there was sunflower. There was sun hemp. Okay. Because they kind of fix the soil and stuff. So that's what was there initially. But then after observing the asparagus, they'll be able to handle this.
Yeah. Well, and they could grow with the sunflower because heights won't be a problem for that, essentially. Yeah. Because I also see that you've got marigolds, and I see you do have ornamentals dotted here and there within the garden as well. What's your reasoning behind that?
So for me personally, I think a garden that has nothing to eat is just a waste of time. It has to have food in it and dotted with the ornamental. Yeah, if they are mixed together, yes, but if it's just good looking and I can't eat it, it's a problem. Because like we have prickly pear, we have lemon, we have lemongrass. We can incorporate, even in a small space, you can incorporate the ornamental and the food. Because it's always important to have food, I think, personally. And then the sweet potato, because it's a vine, it just spreads. It's going to cover as much, but hopefully by the time it covers the asparagus, and they will be bigger, and it doesn't really matter because the ground is covered. Yeah. But then also, and then I find that the lemongrass is actually very good on the soil. It really treats the soil because the soil over there was really bad, but the lemongrass, it is a ground cover when it's full. But we also make our own lemongrass and hibiscus tea.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So everything we grow our own hibiscus, so it's organic, and we grow our own lemongrass. And then in a small space, you want things that you can actually add value to, process and store, right? It would be difficult to grow enough maize here, grain, but so, because this is a lot of lemongrass tea, right? And then we're always peppering in, like this is our comfrey, right? Yep. You can eat comfrey.
I've heard so. I don't know. Just
I've actually eaten it. I've cooked it. Yeah, you can eat it. I wouldn't eat it every day because toxicity and stuff like that. But you can. It tastes just like Chihuahua.
Really?
Yep. Just like Chihuahua. So for me, it's doing more than double duty. Yes. It goes in my compost. I can eat it. I can make it as a fruit foliar. It's a really versatile plant. Yeah. And you see, we have our impua, right? So it looks pretty enough, right? But it's edible. So we want to make sure that we have tons of food everywhere, all the time.
Well, just even looking at this, you've got your bondway.
Yes.
More of the wild type than the ones that they are growing more commercially.
We have the ones.
I see it over there. You've also got it there. I've been told that you can eat the tithonia as well, and you've got blackjacks, which is another one that one could eat.
You could make it into a tea. They say it has medicinal, medicinal value. So there's food all around. you know.
You just have to be able to understand that it's there to be eaten effectively.
And give it the space to grow.
Yeah.
If I pave over everything, where am I going to grow it?
Oh, you're not. And
Yeah. So now here our domes are biodigester, because under here is like a 17 cubic meter
okay.
and 14 cubic meter, and then we have the portable one over there. So the soil here is all excavated.
Yeah.
But as you can see now, everything, because it was just like dirt.
Yes.
But now everything's growing over here. We have castor beans, right? We have lemongrass. We have all these different. We have flowers popping in there, but you know the Tusonia. I mean the Mexican sunflower takes no competition. It just
it overgrows everything.
It overgrows everything, but. So you can always just pop from the house to the. You always have some from
very close by. Need to get something.
Just
it's
pop
right there.
Yeah. So have you noticed we have a lot of prickly pear all over the place, and the reason also, if you look at this is what it looks like straight from, right?
Ground,
so we're still building that up, but the cacti, the prickly pear should be fine with it. But at some point, all this is going to be bigger.
Quite lush and
quite lush and quite big. We've continued with the orientation. North-south, right? Because this is east.
Yes.
And that's west, right?
Can you explain to me, because I did read about that, what is the purpose for that north-south orientation on the tree?
On the trees, on the tree lines.
Yeah.
So north-south orientation, meaning the trees are facing this way, right? So if you stand in front of me and you face this way, right? We're all getting sun from the east.
Oh, okay.
It's going to go up like the, and we're all going to get sun from the west.
Yeah.
But if we are sideways, I'm the only one getting sun.
At that time, and then in the afternoon I'm the only one. So it's a maximization of solar exposure.
Exactly. So basically, that's what it is for all your tree lines. So you want to make sure, because otherwise then parts of your garden are being shaded, they're not getting enough sun, but now you're giving everybody enough sun. But then that's why we do 5 lines, so even the ones in the middle get some sun. Lizard.
Oh, yeah.
If people could eat lizards, there'd be food everywhere, because these little buggers are everywhere.
Chickens will eat them. My dogs will eat them.
Oh, they eat lizards?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not really keen on that, but I'll chase them down and do that.
Yeah. But so that's why they do that. So we're just keeping the orientation so that everything is getting sun. Yeah. Even in the raised beds, it's still same orientation.
Everything north-south. Yeah. Okay. Oh, good to know, actually.
Yeah. And this is our matoke plantain, right? So our plantain circle over here. And
so I see that they are planted in a bit of a circle, and you're putting compost in the center.
Yes, we just
allowing that to rot down and feed
continually feed these. Yeah, because initially I just had one, which had 3. They had these babies. So this is like we use our homestead as a little nursery for things that would eventually plant out in the farm. Yeah, because that would have figured out how it grows, what it needs before we take it out there. Because at least we'd be able to pay attention to it.
And have you been able to harvest any plantain yet?
Not yet. Not yet. Our bananas are just starting. This one is the first one over there. Still a little small. So over here, as you can see, is our worm farm. So this is 8 by 1 by 1, basically. So for our table scraps and excess produce that we need to get rid of, it all comes in here. Yeah. Right? Then we get the worm tea that we use for the garden. The worm castings go back into the garden, but then we also process our waste. The idea about it is, like in permaculture, we want to be able to process all our waste. Yeah. And then process it in such a way that we can use it again. Now, can you imagine if here we are, we can process all our waste, and we can process the waste of maybe 10, 20 other neighbors. So they don't have to put their waste on that stinky truck, right? Because what makes it stink, it's the table waste. Yeah. Because that rots. I mean, the plastic and everything they can throw. But if they can bring that and it goes into the farmers and it's processed, so you kind of really are helping the whole neighborhood, or you're helping themselves. So it takes me maybe 6 months to get a waste big enough to have the... Oh, really? For the garbage guys to come and collect? Yeah, and then they try to make a killing. I'm like, no. No. So here it's a little nursery in different stages, but part of our asparagus, I regraft some of my own apples, in there, so graft them and grow them from scratch. And this is kind of where the experimental table, where we're figuring out what we're gonna grow, what's gonna work. And can you feel the temperature? Okay, it's not hot, you can't really compare, but it's pretty cool here. It gets really cool here, regardless of what the temperature is. And this is all food. Look up, there's food. We do have grapes in here, you know, because they technically last longer, about 50 years, but getting the right variety that does well here, you know. But that's the whole idea, because this is 3 to 5 years, right? But that lasts a whole lot longer. So as this is developing, we have this for food. So by the time this gets to full-fledged, it
will have taken over. And I think the thing I like about doing a trellis like this is that you can then kind of combine more than one, you know, creeping crop into it.